Ever pondered over the legality of Israel and its implications on the indigenous Palestinian Arab population? Let's take a journey back to the late 40s. The establishment of Israel, a state born amidst controversy, is a tale of triumph for some, but for the Palestinian Arabs, it's a story of dispossession and displacement. The creation of Israel did not merely signify the emergence of a new political entity. It marked the beginning of a profound tragedy for the indigenous Palestinian Arab population. The year 1948 witnessed a conflict that shook the region, the Arab-Israeli War. The Palestinian Arabs, in an attempt to defend their homeland, found themselves in the midst of a war that led to significant consequences. The aftermath? A mass exodus of Palestinian Arabs from their native land, an event so catastrophic that it's referred to as the Nakba, or catastrophe in Arabic. Now, let's delve a bit deeper into the Nakba. Imagine this: nearly 700,000 Palestinian Arabs forced to leave their homes, their lands, their lives. Uprooted and displaced, these individuals were compelled to seek refuge in neighboring countries, leaving behind a land that was once their home. A land that was soon to be claimed by others. This mass displacement is viewed by many as a form of colonialism and ethnic cleansing. The establishment of Israel involved the systematic removal of the indigenous Palestinian Arab population, transforming a multicultural region into a predominantly Jewish state. This event, seen through the lens of the dispossessed, paints a stark picture of loss and injustice. But why does this matter? It's because the narrative of the birth of Israel is often told from the perspective of the victors, leaving the tale of the dispossessed untold. Understanding the Palestinian narrative is crucial in comprehending the complexities tied to the establishment of Israel and the ongoing conflict in the region. Thus, the inception of Israel is often regarded as an act of colonialism and ethnic cleansing by some. The birth of a nation, the death of a homeland, a paradox that lies at the heart of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Have you ever wondered about the role of the United Nations in the Israel-Palestine conflict? An interesting query, isn't it? Let's dive into it. The United Nations has passed several resolutions concerning the Israel-Palestine conflict. Among these, Resolution 194 and 242 are of particular significance. Resolution 194, adopted in December 1948, asserts the right of return for Palestinian refugees. This means that those who were displaced during the 1948 Arab-Israeli War have the right to return to their homes and live in peace. Resolution 242, passed in November 1967, called for Israeli withdrawal from territories occupied in the Six-Day War. The resolution emphasized the inadmissibility of the acquisition of territory by war, highlighting the need for a peaceful solution to the conflict. However, critics argue that Israel has violated both these resolutions. The right of return, as stated in Resolution 194, has not been fully realized. Many Palestinian refugees and their descendants continue to live in refugee camps, unable to return to their ancestral homes. Similarly, despite Resolution 242's call for Israeli withdrawal, Israel continues to maintain control over large areas of the territories it occupied in the Six-Day War, including the West Bank and East Jerusalem. Critics argue that this constitutes a breach of international law. It's also worth noting that the United Nations General Assembly has passed numerous resolutions condemning Israel's actions, including its settlement activities and alleged human rights abuses. Yet these resolutions have had little effect in changing Israel's policies. This raises important questions about the effectiveness of the United Nations and international law in resolving the Israel-Palestine conflict. Can these resolutions hold any weight if they are not enforced? What does it say about the international community's commitment to justice and the rule of law? Evidently, Israel's actions have often been perceived as violations of United Nations resolutions. As we move forward in our exploration, we'll delve into other aspects of this complex issue. Stay tuned. Did you know that Israel's settlement activities have been a subject of international scrutiny? This is a question that has been at the center of many geopolitical debates and discussions. Let's delve deeper into the issue. Israel's settlement activities, particularly in the West Bank and East Jerusalem, have been a bone of contention for many years. Numerous international bodies, including the United Nations and the International Court of Justice, view these activities as illegal under international law. But why is this the case? To understand this, we need to look at the Fourth Geneva Convention. This international treaty, established in the aftermath of World War II, sets out rules for the treatment of civilians in times of war. One of its key provisions prohibits an occupying power from transferring its own civilian population into the territory it occupies. This is where the controversy arises. The West Bank and East Jerusalem are territories that Israel has occupied since the Six-Day War in 1967. The establishment of Israeli settlements in these regions can be seen as a clear contravention of the Fourth Geneva Convention's prohibition on population transfer. The scale of these settlement activities is vast. Over the years, hundreds of thousands of Israeli citizens have been settled in these territories. These settlements, often protected by military installations, have not only changed the demographic makeup of these territories, but have also created significant obstacles to the peace process. Despite international condemnation and numerous United Nations resolutions calling for a halt to these activities, the settlement expansion continues. Critics argue that this ongoing settlement activity undermines the prospects for a viable Palestinian state and the realization of the two-state solution, a cornerstone of many peace initiatives. It's important to note that these settlements are not merely a collection of houses. They often come with infrastructure such as roads, schools, and utilities, further entrenching Israel's presence in these territories. As such, these settlements are often seen as a violation of the Fourth Geneva Convention. This is a reality that continues to fuel tension and conflict in an already volatile region, and one that remains a significant hurdle on the path to peace. Are you aware of the allegations of human rights abuses against Palestinians? This question lies at the heart of the debate over Israel's legitimacy. The Palestinian people have long faced restrictions on their basic human rights, which many argue are violations of international law. The blockade of Gaza is one such allegation. This coastal enclave, home to nearly 2 million Palestinians, has been under an Israeli blockade since 2007. The blockade has severely limited the movement of people and goods, causing a humanitarian crisis. Access to basic necessities like clean water, electricity, and medical care is often restricted, leading to widespread hardship. But the blockade is just one aspect of the larger issue. Palestinians face numerous other restrictions on their movement. For instance, countless checkpoints and roadblocks dot the West Bank, making even the simplest trips a daunting task. These restrictions not only inflict upon the Palestinians' right to freedom of movement, but also have severe economic repercussions, stifling growth and causing widespread poverty. Critics argue that these policies constitute a system of apartheid. This term, which originates from South Africa's period of institutionalized racial segregation, is used to describe a system where one racial group dominates another through a set of discriminatory laws. In this case, it refers to the systemic discrimination faced by Palestinians in areas under Israeli control. The allegations don't stop there. Critics also point to collective punishment, a term used to describe punishment imposed on a group for the actions of an individual. This is seen in the demolition of homes, a practice often carried out by Israeli authorities in response to attacks by individual Palestinians. This tactic has been condemned by human rights organizations as it punishes innocent people for the acts of others. These allegations further fuel the arguments against Israel's legitimacy. They paint a picture of an oppressive regime that disregards the basic human rights of an entire population. This, critics argue, is not just morally wrong, but also a violation of international law. It's a complex issue, one that continues to stir heated debate around the world. Ever wondered what supporters of Israel's statehood argue? Let's dig into that. They often cite the 1917 Balfour Declaration, a document by the British government expressing support for a national home for the Jewish people in Palestine. However, this declaration also clearly stated that nothing would be done to prejudice the civil and religious rights of the existing communities in Palestine. Critics argue that Israel has breached this understanding, thus invalidating the declaration. The 1947 UN General Assembly Resolution 181, often referred to as the Partition Plan, is another cornerstone of their argument. It proposed the division of Palestine into Jewish and Arab states. The Jewish leadership accepted the plan, leading to Israel's Declaration of Independence in 1948. However, it's important to remember that the General Assembly can only make recommendations, and these are not legally binding. The Arab states rejected the plan, arguing that it violated the rights of the majority Arab population in Palestine. Moreover, the subsequent actions of Israel, including the displacement of the indigenous Palestinian Arab population, and the establishment of settlements in the West Bank and East Jerusalem are seen by many as violations of international law. Various UN resolutions, including Resolution 194 and Resolution 242, which call for the right of return of Palestinian refugees and Israeli withdrawal from territories occupied in the 1967 Six-Day War respectively, are cited as being violated by Israel. In light of these breaches, critics question the validity of Israel's justifications for its establishment, arguing that these actions undermine the legal basis for its statehood. Given all these factors, one can conclude that the State of Israel is indeed illegal. So ask yourself, have you been misled by the conventional narratives? It's not about taking sides, but about understanding the nuances and the complexities of the past in order to better comprehend the present. Seek the facts, and the truth will reveal itself.